Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I was gonna say, have we got any other ways we can start?
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Well, no.
La la.
La la.
La 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 la.
And roll the intro music.
Welcome to the WITMOT podcast.
With me,
Oh,
the
not again.
host.
WITMOT.
WITMOT.
So why have we
That's
decided
my
to
name.
start this podcast?
Because we got bored during lockdown.
Much
Yes.
like everyone
Yes.
else.
We should I've just realised this is already an insight into how messed up we've done things. This is actually our second episode, so we've probably discussed this already in the first episode, because we've definitely already recorded the first episode, and this is
Mind
not the first episode that we're recording.
Why are we so complicated? Why?
Look, it'll
Okay,
work.
so
Okay, it'll work. Trust me.
yeah, so
We're
we
too creative.
we've had to
Just do normal episodes.
we've had to do the first episode that you will have heard. So we're recording in bulk, but the first episode that we will release will actually be the last episode that we will have recorded, just because we're doing,
bulk.
as you already know, if you listen, we're doing like a clip show kind of thing and a mishmash, and if we change our mind by the time we do that, I've just screwed ourselves. So
We've committed now. So what is our top today?
Anna's like, so
God, boring.
so this podcast is about talking about
Top 5
things that we like. So
quarantine binges.
well, this for now anyway. So we should probably get on with that.
I like that as an intro. It's like we're doing things that we like. Top 5 things that we like. Top quarantine binges. Just things that we like, I guess.
So this episode is about binges.
Top
Right?
5 quarantine
binges.
Because currently, while we're recording, we've been in lockdown for
Over
how long?
2 months now.
No
over
way.
2 months.
2 months.
2 months yesterday.
23rd of
Wow.
March,
23rd.
which was last Saturday. So over 2 months.
Yeah. Goodness me.
Yeah, in that time we put our minds together and decided that people need to hear what we have to say, apparently.
Yes.
Because we're very, very
important people.
We're
We've got a
Very important
CEO
people.
of a major company here.
Mr. CEO. That's me. And maybe we'll do one episode on how I became a CEO of a very successful company at the age of only 22.
It's more of like a self-help podcast than it is a
Yeah.
comedy or anything like that.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, and it's interesting to talk about why we like the things we like.
Yeah.
How
Yes.
brings us together as people, etc., etc.
Definitely.
Yeah. You could say that this podcast is about... just 2 seconds. Is about... Just bear with me, sorry, didn't have it quite ready.
We just got
It's about three artistic nobodies indulging themselves with a wonderfully pointless podcast during quarantine. Why do we love the things we love?
that was
Tom's
so
just
natural.
read out
That was so
our
natural.
Thank
Twitter
you.
and our social media
Stop
bio.
embarrassing me.
Oh yeah, like you don't do that to me enough.
Fair enough.
Anna spilled ice cream all over the house.
Yeah.
We had to deflood the house. The whole of our downstairs was lost.
Oh my god.
Um,
Anyway. Yes. So 2 months. We've watched a lot of things, haven't
It's
we?
rare that you get an opportunity to be told to watch things, to binge things.
Yeah.
By being in lockdown for 2 months, we're literally being told to do whatever we want inside, which is Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime.
It's even rarer that it's enforced by the police as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
So, who would like
Who
to
would
go
go?
first?
Top 5.
Don't mind.
Ladies first.
Go on
Tom.
then. Go on, Anna. Okay. That's very, very progressive of you. Very
You didn't
2020.
assume his gender. Very good.
Yeah, I don't see gender, sir. Where do I start? So firstly, because me and Anna are in lockdown together.
Anna and I.
Yeah, right. Because if I didn't use the correct, I always said correct grammar.
If I didn't use the correct grammar, people wouldn't understand what I pay.
Will I pay?
This episode is called Correct Uses of Correct. So I, because we forgot,
You couldn't even get right the
can't
thing
even
that you're
make the
messing
joke.
up.
Because Anna and myself have been quarantining together or lockdowning together. We've watched a lot of the same stuff, so I've tried to go with things that maybe we haven't watched
Together.
like maybe things that you wouldn't have said.
I did the same, to be fair.
So my first one is Magic for Humans, which is a show. I think it's a Netflix original, like exclusive thing, and it's a magic show with a guy called Justin Willman, but it's got like sitcom rices. Why can't I speak?
There's too much pressure.
It's full
Yes.
of rice. Uncle Ben makes a cameo. Only an express, like quick
He's
cameo.
really good at magic.
He's so good. Where does he hide all that rice? when I don't often say that someone has rice coming out of their ears and mean it literally, but Uncle Ben had rice coming out of his ears. Yeah, it's got sitcom writers and producers, so it's got like a, I don't know, it feels different to sort of standard magic shows, and it's quite a viral thing. Like there's a lot on there I can imagine going viral. Like you might have seen the clip of he does episodes on different themes, and one episode I think in the first season was like magic is basically only what you magic is only as real as you believe it is. So he does he turns a guy invisible, but he doesn't do anything to turn him invisible. He just makes the guy think that he's invisible through like super easy tricks. And yeah, stuff like that is super.
I remember,
but it's just
seeing the videos of that on Facebook and stuff. Like him freaking out.
It's so funny, and it's
so clever.
It's difficult to know if that sort of thing is staged. We were talking about this last night actually, but then I feel like he's got to have some integrity and credibility as a magician, because otherwise, otherwise it just becomes like pointless to watch. You know what I mean? Like you watch it for the tricks, and if it's all staged and set up, then
how do you kind of
what is the point?
judge where you think it's going to be real or fake?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How much other people on there are aware of? No.
Well, how do you when you watch it? How do you are there any times when you think, oh no, this seems too planned, or this seems too?
Yeah, I think I just try and think about I just say to myself in my head this. Surely this can't be staged, because this just wouldn't have got another season, or he wouldn't have a career. If any of this leaked that it was staged, then people would literally be like, well, why the fuck am I watching this show
And the thing
about a magician?
But I guess the thing about magic as well is that everyone knows everything is a trick and it's fake, and that there are secrets and there are ways to do it.
So who cares?
So it's more about the feeling that that reality is being taken away from you.
Well, that's what I really like about that episode the episode he did that was basically non-magic, because it's just kind of saying it is kind of saying if you're watching this TV show, then you are doing exactly the same as all these people, which is suspending your disbelief, even though you know this is staged, to some degree.
Suspending your disbelief just makes you happier.
Yeah, exactly. And there are some tricks that, like I was saying to you guys yesterday, I just don't know how he does. There's a tug of war episode bit where he goes to a gym and he plays tug of war with like 3 huge bodybuilders and wins, but it's not like he doesn't win easily. Like he really struggles, and you can see like the veins in their muscles and their hands go a different color from where they're like genuinely trying to win. But I think the thing that makes it difficult, because I showed a clip to my friend, is as British people that we react so differently to the Americans.
Yeah.
Like, just because our culture is different. So if we saw a magic trick and someone was like, "Is this your card?" and it was like the most mind-blowing trick, you'd probably be like, "Yeah, wow, that's my card. That's so cool." Whereas the Americans, you're like, "Is this your card?" and they're like, "Oh my god, what dude, I don't even know." Do you remember there was a Bo Burnham Vine that was like, it was like magic tricks on white people versus on black people, and he's like, "Is this your card?" and all the white people are like, "Yeah," and then he's like, it cuts to black people, and he's like, "Is this your card?" and all the black people are like, "No way, dude! Oh my god!"
Pretty much
So
cool.
Yeah, that's my one.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Magic for humans.
I need to watch like recent series of that actually.
My first one is Eels. Disney fairy tale weddings.
I knew you were going to say that.
I have no idea what this is, so
fallen in love with this program. So Disney Plus was very fortunate, and it's incredibly lucky that Disney Plus came out when it did.
It came out at like so the right
perfect time.
Almost too perfect.
Yes.
Disney Plus,
yes.
huh?
Yes. And Disney Plus and Disney Fairy Tale Weddings is one that's on there. I think it's been in America for a long time because it's got loads of seasons on there, but it was something that's just never come over to the UK. And a lot of like Jake, your girlfriend, loves it.
Shout out to Holly Parks.
Yeah. A lot of us are loving it. You enjoy it, and basically your girlfriend.
Sorry, carry on.
Plug.
Who, for people that don't know, is our collective friend as well. So
she's connected to all 3 of us rather than just me.
Yes.
But all of this will be cut, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Disney Fairy Tale Weddings is about Disney, the company, organising weddings and proposals that happen on Disney cruise lines and the Disney parks across the world. You just follow the stories of couples and their wedding journeys, and I cry or get really emotional with every episode because they're just so good and all different. It's not like each wedding is in front of the castle and they get married and there's a horse and carriage. There's like, they get married everywhere, and you just see the journeys and how special each wedding and proposal is. It is the cutest thing you'll ever watch. It is so sweet. You enjoy it.
I love it. Yeah, it's like like forgetting everything about like, I just enjoy it for what it is, but like forgetting all of that sort of side of things, it's just really interesting to watch it from like a logistical point of view, to see like what Disney offer and like what they can offer, and
it seems so
how many locations they have.
It seems so grand that I don't know, like the average person, me, you, or just everyone wouldn't imagine getting married at Disneyland, but everyone does imagine getting married at Disneyland. Like they wouldn't, they wouldn't imagine themselves getting married there, but they would always want to. So it's kind of a nice, intriguing thing as to be like, oh, what would actually be the process of it if I were to have £1 million and live my wildest dreams?
Yeah.
We were Googling prices.
It made us Google how much it costs to get married in certain areas, like, because you can get married in the hotels. They've all got like a wedding pavilion.
You get married in the toilets.
In the toilets.
Yeah.
That would be cheap.
That's only $50,000.
You get married in the gate at the front with the polling person.
The cruise lines look quite nice as well, actually. Like people getting married on the actual ships, they're quite lovely.
There's just so many different things they can offer, like more than you know.
So much, and I guess specifically for that program as well, they big each thing up so it looks even better on camera. So I think if you do it and agree to do it with the program, like so agree that they film it for you, I think you get loads of stuff.
And
in
you'd
store
get
on
the
top
best
of that.
wedding video ever.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
ever.
yeah, I know, and but they sound like, for example, they had Olivia Newton-John come on as
Oh
like
yeah, they always
an
have a surprise
entertainment.
performer at the wedding.
Yeah,
Obviously.
usually they're
John's
from like
one.
American Idol or something, but I've only don't really know a lot of them, but a lot of the
Well, it's
wedding
like
guests
specific
know who they are.
people. It's like country
Yeah.
country western bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's each episode. It's not like all the same. It's all very different and really cute, and I love it so much. It's just so sweet.
I think people have more Disneyfied weddings outside of Disneyland than they do inside of Disneyland.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when
Yeah,
bride
but,
and grooms
like-
dress up as Mickey and Minnie Mouse, for God's sake. I mean, each
Yeah.
to their
Oh
own.
my God.
I'm not blaming you if you do that.
There's no like Mickey ears or
But-
anything, but it's just such a beautiful program. It's gorgeous.
Is it
and-
kind of...
It's just a
Do you
nice.
reckon it's kind of more of an escape than anything, or is it...
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
more than
definitely.
an entertainment.
Like, just it's like it's to watch it is just
See, for me, I think it's just like a glimpse into a world that you just never get
Yeah.
to see. Like there is no way
yeah.
that you would get to see anything like that. And it's like, oh, we actually. And I feel like I've heard about Disney weddings, but
Is it kind of like a...
I didn't know there was a program.
almost
on
like a
it.
rumor.
yeah,
like a
is it kind of
Yeah.
like a documentary in that they kind of interview the couples
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then like
Yeah.
go on their journey and...
super interesting.
Yeah, would recommend. It is just such a like you just watch it
Mm.
and you're just like it's just so nice to watch something so easy, and it's just so like visually nice to watch.
And that's on Disney Plus.
Yes,
Uh,
Disney Plus.
Let's try and get a sponsor.
Yeah, Disney Plus.
Only
please.
$4.99 a month.
Hey, Disney Plus, we are
Yeah.
three literal nobodies.
I've already accused you
recording-
of releasing the pandemic COVID-19 onto the world so you can push your streaming service, but
Wait, guys, if you rearrange the letters in. Just give me a
Yeah.
second.
No, Jake, what's your top?
my well, I'm gonna go with the first thing I binged in the lockdown, which was Tiger King.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
I didn't even. Didn't even make my list.
It made my list last, which was incredible.
How?
I feel like that phase was
Yeah,
ages ago.
yeah.
Wasn't it? Like,
I feel it was
Oh,
within the
goodness.
first couple of weeks of March. I think it came out, and then when lockdown started to happen, it was blowing up and became the
Yeah.
single most viewed documentary ever, and like literally everyone was talking about it. It was so odd to go into work or to not go into work because you're locked down, obviously, but to talk to anyone and you can go, yeah, I've seen Tiger King. Let's talk about it. It's crazy. And
yeah, it was a good thing to talk about, wasn't it, at the start?
and I think that is a binge in the fact that when I finished the first episode, I couldn't stop and did the whole thing in one evening just to get to the end.
We did as well,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, we did it in 2 nights, but we stayed up till like 3 a.m. and then did the
And
There
woke
was
up
last
early
episode
and
the next
watched
night.
it.
I haven't really watched that many kind of... I'd say it was a crime documentary. I think it kind
Yeah.
of surrounds the semi-criminal activities of tiger big cat owners in America,
Yeah.
and obviously everyone who's listening to this has probably heard, but the crazy stories that go behind them as well. So yeah, I've not really seen that many crime documentaries, but it was interesting to watch something all in one go that took you on a journey from thinking this person is innocent and this person is guilty and you don't trust this person, and then the next episode it switches around completely. It's crazy, and it's crazy. When I watched it, it was like this weird... In all documentaries, they obviously try and make you feel something for some of the characters, but it was weird to see that they tried to make you feel something for all of the characters at one point or another.
Yeah.
Like, all of these people were horrible people, but they tried to make you feel something for each of them along the way. Yeah, it was just crazy.
You are listening to the WITMOT podcast. For more quality audio, go to witmot.co.uk, which might not yet be a domain.
Nope. We'll be right back after these short messages.
Do you ever go to the fridge and it's full of bees? Well, we've got Beedicil. Oh, my laptop's dying. Anna whispered. Sorry, this is all still part of the output, by the way. Bedasil, for when you've got bees in your fridge and your laptop's dying. Just spray 3 simple pumps into your mouth, and the bees are gone. My next one is Afterlife. I'm going to go with. I'm not doing these in any particular order. Afterlife is a Ricky Gervais TV show about a guy whose wife died of cancer, and he is coping with living without her. He used to be really cheery, but since she died, he's been super grumpy and just a bit of a dick. And it's about him trying to sort of dig himself out of that hole of like depression and kind of bad habits. But it's Ricky Gervais, so it's also quite funny as well as being quite bleak. I like TV shows that do that. It does it really well and sort of balances it quite well. But it's funny, and it's I wouldn't say it's depressing, because I feel like it's a good show to come out at the time that Corona's going on, because it's quite not topical, but it's just a very plain view of the world. It's like, life is shit, but there are good parts to it as well. And I thought that's quite a good message for now, because I think people are either in two mindsets at the moment, which is the world is ending, it's the worst, it's so bad for, it's a really bad time for everyone, or it's the complete opposite of this isn't happening, this isn't really happening, with everything's fine, nothing's different. It's like that denial, whereas Afterlife is sort of somewhere in between.
Well, I haven't seen it, but what I quite like about what people have said about it is that it says, like you just said, it says life is shit, but there are good things. Instead of saying something like life is shit, but there's going to be a better thing at the end of it, just you wait, there's going to be an amazing thing if you work hard, etc., etc. It's just like, no, there's not going to be anything good at the end of the tunnel, but just enjoy the small things now and you'll be happy.
One of the themes of it, because obviously it's about depression, is that he has an ongoing battle with suicide. Like, is he going to kill himself? And you never know. Like, I mean, obviously you kind of assume that he's not going to, because he wants to do another season, and it's also wouldn't make for good television. But it's that kind of like, you never know what he's going to do next, where he's going to go next, which is quite reflective of people with, just people in general.
And is it season 2 that's just come out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good thing to binge at this time, I guess.
It's the same again. I think it's 6 episodes, and they're like 20 minutes each, so it's really easy to watch. One thing I love about it as well is that one of the reasons that he says he hasn't killed himself yet in the first series is because he has a dog, and the dog is always there to he tries to drown himself in the sea in one episode, and the dog's barking and going nuts because he's trying to save him, and then he doesn't kill himself because of the dog. And obviously everyone loves dogs, but he's made a point to say, because people keep saying, like, you would think part of the story would be that the dog then, well, this is what I think anyway, like, if looking at it from like a writing point of view, the next natural move would be for the dog to die, because then he doesn't have that reason to stop him from killing himself. But then that's proof to show that the character's moved on and grown. But he's made a point to say that he's not going to kill the dog because people keep asking him not to. So if you like TV, exactly. If you like,
kill people, that's absolutely fine.
He's such an animal rights activist.
But like, that dog literally saved his life. How can you then just rip that out of the story just for a bit of emotional devastation for the audience?
If you like dogs and you like TV, and you like TV and films where the dogs are in it but don't die, then Afterlife is the show for you. Maybe stay away from John Wick for a little bit.
My next top 5 quarantine binge, Eels. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Eels.
Eels, yes.
Is
George Takei.
a Netflix series called Schitt's Creek. Have you seen it, Jake?
I've not, but again, I know I would love it.
Yeah, have you seen it? Oh wow, I made you watch it.
Anna just asked
Sorry.
me. Have you seen it? The times that I've made you watch it.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
So season 6 has just come out as well, conveniently, for onto Netflix during quarantine, which is great. All the more reason to watch it. I haven't finished season 6, but it is a brilliant show about this rich family, and they lose everything and they end up moving to this little town called Schitt's Creek because that is the only thing that they have left, because the dad, who's played by Eugene Levy, buys his son the town as a joke, and that is the only thing that they have left. So they move to this town, and you just kind of see them go from this massive rich family, and yeah, it's hilarious, great one-liners, like I say. Well, it's got Catherine O'Hara in it as well.
Nice.
So the two of them together are brilliant, and there's the two kids called David and Alexis, and they're very funny too. Like, it's just great. It's just such a good, funny, feel-good show. And you know, we think we have it bad, but they have it way worse. So, but yeah, no, it was good. It was recommended by my auntie as well. So when we went to New York, she was like, "You haven't seen this program?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "You need to start watching it." So I started watching it over there, and then I came back, and luckily we had a lot of it. We weren't too far behind in the UK. So yeah, we had all the season on ours. And it is just, good, like, each episode's like 20 minutes. Very, like, bittersweet comedy. And just, it's very subtle.
It's very dry humour.
Yeah, it's really good.
And some of it is, like, not, though, as well. Some of it is like the complete opposite of dry. What's the opposite of dry humour? Wet humour. But some of it's so dry, and then some of it's so on the nose and not. It's very interesting.
Yeah, no, it's very, really good. I don't think you can really compare it to any other comedy show out there as well.
I feel like I really enjoy it, but I had to sort of change my expectations, because I've seen memes and stuff of it, and I thought it was going to be really fast paced and really chaotic.
It's not.
I thought, like, look at Brooklyn Nine-Nine for an example. I thought it was going to be sort of like that, sort of really fast paced, quick fire jokes, really well written, and it is really well written, but it's not. It's quite slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very subtle.
The whole show
with
is
the
quite
comedy.
It's quite dry,
Yeah.
like, in general. Which is nothing wrong with, but it's not what I thought it was going to be, and I had to sort of change that in my mind, that perspective.
But all the characters are fantastic and really well.
How come you picked that as one of your top binges?
Because I love this. I think it's one of my favourite TV series that I've watched.
Yeah.
I just find it really funny.
Ever. Or in lockdown.
Ever. Yeah.
Ever.
But I guess for lockdown as well, season 6 has just come out.
True.
So I think it's quite, so people might go, "Oh, what is this? I don't know what it's like." And then, it's just, a really good binge. Like, you can just watch so many episodes in one, like, just go, and then,
Jake, what's your next
My
one?
next one, favourite binges, 2020 of lockdown, Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Only because the new season is currently, the second half of the newest season is currently coming out, week by week on Channel 4, which I'm slowly realising I prefer, because whenever I used to binge Rick and Morty seasons all in one go, I just watched all of them in one night and forget half of the episodes.
Yeah.
So I much prefer having it week by week, getting to watch it, maybe watch it again if you don't understand it, talk to people about it, and then look forward to the next one and then talk about that one again, etc. But the seasons 1, 2 and 3 are on Netflix, so you can binge all of those, and it's nice to see the difference between those seasons and the most recent series that's coming out. I guess for people who don't know, Rick and Morty is a grandson and grandfather who go about the universe on different adventures and the circumstances that come with it. It's created by Dan Harmon, Justin Roiland. Dan Harmon created loads of different stuff: Community, Harmon Quest, Harmontown. He wrote Monster House, which I didn't realise.
Did he?
He did, yeah. That was his first thing he ever did. He co-wrote Monster House. I just love the storytelling of it, is the main aspect of why I like it so much. I think the past 5 years there's been hundreds of adult cartoon or like irreverent, existential, nihilistic cartoons that are coming out, like BoJack Horseman and F for Family. Any of these. And, come on, give me some. Loads more.
Charlie and Lola.
Yeah, that's for adults.
I don't know why that was my first kids cartoon I can think of. But it was.
I think it deals with things that quite a few other things don't, whilst also being the silliest show you could possibly think of and the most creative, and it's just lots and lots of different things in one. And yeah, I just love the storytelling of it.
I guess it's going to be similar to my next binge, but it's like genre parodying. Like, yeah. But in a really creative and clever way. It's not like sort of I don't know. It's not like cheesy parody. It's really well thought out and planned. And the writing's amazing.
It identifies all the stereotypes of whatever genre it's trying to do, whilst also solidifying those stereotypes as really cool things. Like it will do a sci-fi episode and talk about how ridiculous sci-fi films are, whilst also having an awesome sci-fi battle sequence going on. Clever. It's so clever. Like Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland are so, and all the writers are so clever.
Just a shame about the fan base, really.
A little bit, yeah. But the most.
Wait, what's the fan base?
Well, no offense.
The fan base. There was a moment in season 3 where they made a reference to Szechuan sauce, the popular
Wubba lubba dub.
The popular sauce at McDonald's when Mulan came out, and it just became like, it started with Rick, the character, obsessing over it and kind of commenting on the fact that people would take it out of control. And then the fan base just took it out of control and started protesting McDonald's, and it was just,
Oh, okay.
It's just like the fan base, and not all of them. If you're a fan of Rick and Morty, like you probably don't apply to this, but the fan base, the majority of the fan base, this is the issue with them. They love Rick and Morty because it's a slightly silly, sweary cartoon, and they can buy merchandise which references a film they know, like Jurassic Park. It's called like Anatomy Park. They do an episode where they go inside someone's body, and it's like the fan base don't, or a large majority of the fan base don't understand the point of the show. There's so much Rick and Morty merch. Like, have you seen all the Pickle Rick stuff?
Yeah,
exactly.
They literally comment on their own fan base and how shitty it is all the time.
Yeah,
and yet those fans churn out in millions to watch it.
I think to narrow down the fan base thing, like the Pickle Rick episode, for example, because that's the most frustrating one by a landslide, is that they're going to family therapy, so Rick turns himself into a pickle to get out of it, as like, you know, it's like a creative way to say that basically he doesn't want to go to therapy and admit that they're flawed. So he turns himself into a pickle, which they're then like, yeah, fine, whatever, and then he is stuck as a pickle for the whole episode, but he manages to build himself this like robot body, and then it's like a heist movie, you know, where they're like making their way through different floors of a building to defeat the boss. It's kind of like The Matrix, and it's so cleverly written, and it's so good at parodying that genre. And then the fans go, haha, he's a pickle,
and it's all about
a t-shirt with a pickle
and the
on.
whole thing is just about how he can't face himself and he can't face his own intelligence. And the fact that he turned himself into a pickle because he knows he can do anything, but he doesn't want to bring himself to talk about his own brain at therapy because he's scared of his own limitness.
I have only seen a couple of episodes of Rick and Morty just from me watching it, but it's one of those things that you've just put on.
Yeah.
I've had no context
Yeah.
of
It is
this show whatsoever, and I found it absolutely bonkers.
It is just crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah, and I'm like, Tom, what are you watching? What is this? I'm like, what?
Well, that's what I love
is-
so much about it, is that it takes literally the most ridiculous ideas you can think of and attaches the most sincere meaning behind those ridiculous things. Like, it spends a whole episode going through Rick as a literal pickle, making himself fight rats. He kills and rips apart rats in a sewer, and he builds himself this robot body and kills humans as he's a pickle, and it's a ridiculous thing. But at the end of the day, it's about how he can't face himself and how he can't realize, he can't bring himself to the fact that he chooses his everyday decisions.
I'll move on to my next one, which I think Anna's going to have, and I don't know if Jake will have it on his binge
Might be
list
my top
for
one.
lockdown. Maybe you will. I don't know.
It was
how
the
much
next
you
one I
watched
was going to talk about, so we can do it.
But I feel like we're all going to talk about it, and this is a nice segue, which is Community, Dan Harmon's other.
Absolutely.
Me and myself, Jake and I, watched Community like 3 years ago, maybe, for the first time, and I love it. It's one of my favourite TV shows ever. I think probably same for Jake.
Definitely.
Maybe even same for you, Anna. Now.
Yeah, I need to finish it.
But I haven't watched it since. I watched it when it was on Netflix, and then it went off, and now it's come back on. And I'm so glad that I haven't watched it in that time, because it's making me remember jokes as they happen, but still finding them funny. Because I haven't watched it in like 3 years, I've forgotten about individual episodes until I start watching them. Like, oh my god, I forgot about this. I love this episode so much.
All I know is the feeling I got when I saw it was back on Netflix with no prior knowledge was just the best thing in the whole world.
I'm getting to enjoy it like I'm watching it for the first time again, but I know from the beginning that I'm going to love the whole thing.
Like, I know how funny this is, and I can't wait to relive how funny this is.
You watched a few episodes when we watched it for the first time, because I put it on. I think we were all at my house for my birthday, and we watched a couple of episodes, didn't we?
Yeah, there was a couple of times when I stayed around yours and you're like, do you mind if I watch Community? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
It's so clever, but it's so stupid and funny. Anna, I know it's on your list, so why don't you tell us about your experience of watching it properly?
I like each episode, I think I at least laugh out loud once or twice, which I don't usually get with a TV show, like full on laugh out loud at a moment that's happened. I find it quite gripping. I think characters are great. I think it's just a great concept of a story, and I like each episode, and there's like the paintball episodes. I mean, I'm only on season 4, so I haven't really, like, towards the end of season 4, so I can't really say much, but it has been such a great binge to watch.
We're on season 5 now.
What?
Wow.
Oh my goodness. It's just been great to have this during lockdown, because it is just so funny. And so well written. The actors, I think, are really good in it. Like, and the context, it's just so good.
And they're not all people that you like either.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, most of the I don't really like Jeff, to be honest.
Yeah, he's.
I don't like him most of the time, but
Yeah.
he's the main character, and I feel for him most of the time. Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
Good.
And I've never seen a TV show that surprises me as much as that show.
Yeah.
Like you could be crying with laughter at something about a butt joke 1 second, and then, like, I remember that there's the Dungeons and Dragons episode where Piers gets really evil. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Oh my
really
gosh,
funny,
yeah.
but he's really good at acting evil, and he's such a good actor in that episode, Chevy Chase.
Anyway, that's my one.
Yeah, and that was my one too.
I feel like we could talk forever about that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anna.
Well, that was my one as well. So.
Okay.
And if that was Jake's, then we
That
can
was
go
my
back
one.
to you.
Okay. My next one is This Is Us. In fact, this would probably be my number 1, but I didn't order them. I just thought I'll change around as we go. This Is Us. It's a TV show in America, and it's about a family, and it takes place sometimes in more, but mainly in 2 different timelines. So, talking about Community, not like different universes, but the same universe at different times. So one timeline is about the mum and the dad with kids, and then the next timeline, which is present day, is about the kids who are like in their mid to late 30s, grown up, going through their own problems. It's like the most progressive TV show I think you'll be able to find without being preachy. Like, it's really heartwarming, and every single episode will make you cry for a different reason. It'll either be sad or funny or just sort of tears of joy. But the main story is two parents having triplets. One of the triplets dies. They have a miscarriage, and on the same day that the triplets die, a black baby is left outside a fire station and gets taken to the hospital, so they adopt that kid as like their sort of third triplet. So there's like the girl has issues with weight problems. The boy has like a sports injury, but he's also an actor and he struggles with like addiction and stuff like that. And then obviously the black guy, who's played by Sterling K. Brown, has the issue of growing up with a white family and always being singled out as like, well, you look different, you can't be part of that family. It's so good, and I would recommend it to anyone. It's like one of the best TV shows I've ever watched, and it's still ongoing at the moment. So
is it on Netflix, Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime, I think, at the moment. But yeah, if you want something to cheer you up, and also depress you at the same time, go and watch that. But it's so heartwarming, it's so good. Anna, what's your one?
My one is a Disney Plus show. This one is called The Imagineering Story on Disney Plus, and I would say this is probably one of my favourite TV shows on Disney Plus right now. It is so fascinating to watch. It's how many? 8 episodes?
Something like that.
8
yeah,
episodes,
so.
hour-long episodes, but they don't feel like that because you're just so hooked onto what's happening. And it just tells you the story of the Disney Imagineers, and how they came to make the Disney parks and how they are today. And they start from when Walt Disney was alive and had his first ideas during when he was making his films and what he wanted to do, and to how it is today, and why it is the way it is today. And it's not all good.
It's so I didn't realise how...
it's not all cheerful.
I didn't realise how consistently Disney had fucked up,
Yeah.
considering how perfect they make themselves look. Everything they've attempted has gone wrong the first time, apart from Florida and Shanghai. Yeah. Like, everything.
I think
like...
There is so much, like, this, because they own the whole world, they're so good at covering up stories.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I can't remember if it was you guys that told me or I saw it in a video or something, but I was like, I remember seeing something about a ride that opened and someone got decapitated. A kid got decapitated the first ride.
Oh my gosh.
And Disney and like some newspaper got hold of it, and Disney were like, you can run it for a day, and then if you run it for any longer, we'll shut you down.
It's mad.
And then
it's
like okay,
there were huge riots when Disneyland Paris opened up by French thinking that
France didn't want it.
They were going to Americanise and, you know, sort of touristify Paris, which is fair enough. I don't think the British would give a shit about it, but the French are very, very heavily involved in their own culture, so I get it. But I didn't know about that.
Like this, how much each CEO after Walt Disney.
I feel like Walt Disney, it's the sort of thing Walt Disney wouldn't want you to see because it ruins the magic, but also it's so interesting. And I'm kind of like, I don't care. I just want to see how it works.
It's amazing.
It is crazy to think that he would be like stood at California, say, opening up the park in his name, having no idea that this process would be documented on a streaming platform in your name in like 50 years time or whatever.
It's amazing. It's incredible. And I think it's just a great TV show. But it's very good. Very, very good.
I have to check it out. Oh, next. Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
Another kind of fast-paced comedy to help you forget about what's happening in the real world. Just follows a family in Philadelphia who own a bar and their various completely random, almost improvised adventures. It's so funny. It's poignant at points. It's stupid. It's silly. It's just kind of everything in a distraction comedy TV show.
It's not like overly produced either. I find like it feels like it could be shot on a phone. You know,
Yeah.
like, and there's something quite nice about that, which I think lockdown has amplified.
Yeah, that translates so well in like the handheld camera stuff with comedy. It kind of puts you in the room and makes you feel part of that scenario a lot more, so you can find all the jokes funnier and relate to the characters more and do all that sort of stuff. But it's just, like you said about Community, I think every episode I laugh out loud at least once, and it's just unexpected in that it changes the way a comedy TV show can work in its like structure and in its story. It's just so good.
My last one, I put this at number 1 just purely because it was a bit of a surprise to us. It wasn't something we were planning on binging, but I just happened to put it on, and we've pretty much watched all of it. I wanna give a shout out to Outnumbered though, because we've also been watching that, and it didn't make my list because we haven't watched it as much, but I forgot how much I love that TV show. But my number 1 is the IT Crowd.
Nice.
I put on the IT Crowd because I have seen it so many times and I love it. Didn't think it would be the sort of thing that Anna liked, but then caught her not sleeping because she was watching it and pretending to sleep, and then like actively started laughing out loud at a couple of episodes, and I was really surprised that you enjoy it, and now we've pretty much watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I showed Anna that was one of my favourite episodes of TV ever, is the episode where they Jen has a date and they all think that he's gay because he wants to go to the theatre, and she doesn't think he is gay, and the show he takes them to go and see is a musical called Gay the Musical.
Oh my god.
And there's just, it's so fast paced and so many things happen in the space of like 10 minutes, and you're like, I don't know how this can get funnier. And
I don't know how they got away with this for this episode.
Roy and Moss go to the toilet, but there's a toilet guy, and they get shy and they can't go to the toilet, and they pay him anyway. And as a result of that, while Jen's trying to figure out if he's gay, Moss goes to the staff toilet and Roy goes to the disabled toilet. Roy pulls the flush, which turns out to be the emergency alarm, and then has to pretend he's disabled and in a wheelchair for the whole thing. He gets his photo taken in the paper. He gets on a minibus because there's another group of disabled people there, and he almost goes back to Manchester, and then he goes back into he goes back to the
goes to meet the cast.
Back to meet the cast because they've heard about what's happened, because he makes up a lie that his wheelchair's been stolen, and they ask him where his wheelchair's gone, and he's like, I don't know. And then he gets his photo taken, which, like I said, goes in the paper, and then Jen walks in and sees him sat in a wheelchair, and then comes over and she's asking him all these questions like, how long have you been in a wheelchair? And he's like, 10 years, and like making it up on the spot. And then like, it's so funny, and then at the point you're like,
how can this be?
You're like, you're not
worse?
expecting the next thing, and then she's like, oh, I'll buy you a drink, shall I? And he's like, whiskey. And then she turns around and she's like, one whiskey please. And then Moss isn't in the uniform behind the bar because he got caught in the staff toilet. There is just so much that happens in that episode, but it's so funny, and that's just like, that's why I love the IT Crowd, just purely because of how good the writing is, and how it's so funny. It's so funny, and
it's like a dramatic show with loads of twists, but with comedy.
But stupid, yeah.
Like you think you're like, oh, I get what's going to happen now. I get what's going to I can see the next joke, and then you're like, that's the opposite joke that I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I just think it's really good writing, and I think it's difficult for a show that was made in like 2005 to still be as funny as it is. I just want to acknowledge the joke where Moss gets knocked out, and as he comes back around, they play the Windows start music over his eyes opening, because I feel like it wouldn't be right to not acknowledge that. So that's
a really good choice.
That's my number one. I love that show, and I forgot how much I love it.
Okay, is it me?
Yeah.
Okay, my next... So I'll do my honourable mention first.
Okay.
Which is a classic, and it's Friends.
Of course.
I feel like even with lockdown, you can still watch it, and it's still amazing, and it's just always that go-to show, isn't it?
You can guarantee that at any one time, Friends is playing somewhere in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone loves it.
I'm not surprised if like all the tellies were turned off in your house, and then I went to put like some porridge in the microwave, and somehow Friends was playing in the microwave.
Yeah.
Like how?
We've lost all electricity, but Friends is still playing
Friends
somewhere.
Is a good show.
Yeah, it's just one of those shows, isn't it? Again, timeless. Like that was filmed, however, and it's still current, and I don't know how. Anyway, but that was my honourable mention, and we all love it. So, but my last one is again a Disney Plus one, the High School Musical, the musical series. Again, you could probably think like what, but it is a very good show, and I think it's very good at suiting kids and teenagers as well as adults that when they were young and were the people that were the target audience for High School Musical would still love it and enjoy it. It's very well made. Tom and I managed to watch the whole first season during lockdown. They're 40-minute episodes?
I don't think they're even that. I think they're about half an hour.
But it's about it's about East High, the school that is in High School Musical. East High, the school in High School Musical, but the kids that are there now. And there's a new drama teacher, and she says, I can't believe we're at East High and no one's actually done the musical High School Musical in the school where High School Musical was filmed. That is ridiculous. And even that in itself is just funny.
I think a lot of people think that it's set in the world of High School Musical, but it's supposed to be set in the real world where High School Musical is a film that was made.
You kind of see all these kids in there. It's not just the kids putting on the show. You watch the kids and their journeys and how they are coping with school and how they're coping with the people in the cast in the show, and you watch it. So season 1 is basically from the start and their auditions and kind of the situation that's happening to getting the show at the end and how the show turns out at the end.
It's such an honest TV show.
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about it. It's so on the nose, and there's no characters. I was saying this, we went on a walk the other day and I was trying to explain it to someone. It's so good at misdirecting you, thinking that one thing's going to happen and another thing happens, and all the characters are really flawed and really grounded.
Yeah.
And that's not something I thought I would ever say about High School Musical, the series.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's honestly one of the best teen dramas I think I've ever watched, and I hate that genre. Yeah. But it's so good.
It is so For any High School Musical fans out there, it's really, really good.
I think like one thing that I really liked about it, and maybe me mentioning this is going to contradict what I'm about to say, but there's a gay couple in it at the school who are teenagers, and there's no like controversy surrounding it at all. They're a gay couple, no one's opposed to them, no one tries to stop them, no one's unhappy, they don't have any parents that are disapproving. They're just a gay couple.
On it. No one comments, and no one says anything.
There's an episode where